There we go. I'm gonna try to force out. Oh, there it was. Oh God. Oh, okay. Oh, is there? I feel another one. No, maybe I don't. Maybe that's heartburn. I might be dying.
Don't do that. I hear it doesn't.
Just a little bit every day.
Okay, Sylvia Plath. Thank you very much for that. What you got there, Mike? It's a bell jar. Oh. What's a bell jar? Bell jar. It is the name of Sylvia Plath's book. Thanks, Google. Like, no, really. Apparently, it's not a. Oh, here we go. Oh, that's a bell jar?
Is it like a little terrarium cover for a plant or something?
It's pretty much. I mean, it's shaped like a bell. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, that is not where because that's not a jar. That's like a cover. You know, in my head, a jar has a lid. You know, it's like a mason jar. Anyway,
I guess bell jar is like an upside down jar.
You're an upside down jar.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
I felt it though.
Yeah, you did. Jesus. Okay then. That, you know what, YouTube people, that's what you get. Excuse me. You get burps and a bell jar and then me choking to death. All right. So here we go. Right? Everybody good?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Mike, stop moving. Ow, jam. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mana Pool. This is episode 748 of the Mana Pool. I feel like for this episode I should be using like a, I don't know, like a Lich King voice or something.
A bell jar?
No, only the people that watch on YouTube will understand what that means. By the way, don't forget, the show gets posted on YouTube. So if you have like YouTube Music or YouTube, what's it called? No, that's not Red anymore. Premium? You can listen to it there without ads. And if you don't have YouTube Premium, you can listen to it there with ads, but there aren't that many, I promise. It's like one every either 20 or 30 minutes, depending on how I felt. Unlike a bunch of those YouTube videos that I see that have them every like 4 minutes. I'm like, do you hate your audience? Mm-hmm. Anyway, I don't hate you guys.
Maybe. Oh. We don't hate you either.
Not you, the audience. I mean, I don't hate you either most of the time. Right now I do. Anyway, hello. This is episode 748 of the Mana Pool. Wait, no. Okay. Trying to think of a good voice for this. It's like, and the best I can come up with is like an orc. Like, 748 of the Mana Pool. But I can't do that for the whole episode.
No.
I'll die.
Though it would be entertaining.
I don't think it would.
Can you do a Protoss voice? Just channel your, we need additional pylons.
Oh, God, let's see. I don't remember what it sounds like. All I remember is, you must construct additional pylons. But I know that's not the right sound. Isn't it like, you must construct additional pylons? Or, oh, wait, no, it's got some reverb. It's like, you must construct additional pylons. Something like that?
Yeah. So just say 748, but with that voice.
This is the Mana Pool episode 748. No, I don't like... This is the Mana Pool episode 748. I don't like that either. Anyway, we're talking about Blizzard, all right? For the love of God.
Yeah, we're not having a Bane voice competition.
I mean, we might. I know there are humans in that world, but I don't know what any of them sound like because I haven't messed with anything Blizzard in like 5 years.
I think the point is that you are in fact a human. So, as far as they know.
Weird. Oh, that's funny. The auto mod caught this message from last.
Oh wow.
I'm gonna
That's
allow
funny.
that. Says bunch of cocky white assholes in Starcraft 2. Correct. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna talk about Blizzard Entertainment as mostly about the games, but also as a cautionary tale.
Yes. A history, retro something. No.
Rockets. Retro rockets.
Yeah. I love retro rockets.
Yeah. So yes, I'm Chewy. Hello. I do not the voices, apparently.
I'm Brian, and oh, sorry.
Yeah, see, I have Brian here, who is he talks a lot.
I do. I wish I was Jim Raynor, but I'm not.
I kind of wish I was Tychus, just so I could always be chewing on an unlit cigar.
This is Jimmy.
Mike is here. He has a beard.
Yes. Accurate.
And Dirk is here. He is our moral compass.
That's me. Definitely not Jimmy, though.
Rainer? Or Brian's brother?
Either.
Hell, it's
Yes, that is what my
about
brother
damn
sounds like.
time. Anyway. So... right, let's just get in it.
Yes.
Blizzard Entertainment, as we know it now. Actually, it's not even that. It's Activision Blizzard. But Blizzard was founded in 1991 as Silicon and Synapse, which is, you know, the building blocks of computer chips and the building blocks of the brain. It's a very clever name, actually.
It is. Too bad people started confusing silicone with silicone.
Yeah.
Like you just did there.
He did, yeah.
It was an example. It was totally on purpose.
Totally. But yeah, it was founded by Michael Morhaime, Adam? A-D-H-A-M? Adam?
I think that's how you pronounce it.
I've never heard this man's name said out loud. And Frank Pierce. And they formed because they wanted to make video games. And so they started by making ports for other people's games. They did ports of Battle Chess and J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings Volume 1. Not the crappy one that was on the Super Nintendo, but the other one that was on PC and stuff.
And they formed the company like right after college, right? So they were ready to jump into this.
Yeah.
But nice.
And then they did RPM Racing, which was essentially... I wrote essentially a port, but I forgot to write down a port of what? And my mouse, freaking middle mouse... You know what? I can right-click and open a new tab. Ha-ha! Here we go. It's a remake, so it's essentially a port of a 1985 EA game called Racing Destruction Set, which I've never heard of. But apparently RPM Racing kind of sucked, so it doesn't matter. So, yeah. Like, everyone remembers Battle Chess.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. At least everyone of a certain age remembers Battle Chess, because it was really cool to see chess pieces come to life and beat the crap out of each other with that, with those really chunky sound effects, like when the rook turned into a rock monster and smashed a pawn over the head, the crunching sound would like do actual physical damage to your ears, provided you had
And this
the right sound card in your computer.
and this was ages before Harry Potter would bring like wizard's chess to the movies, so this was a very tactile experience.
But after Star Wars did it,
Yes.
because this was in 91. I think all three of these came out in 91. Yeah, they did all three of these in 91. Or two. I keep getting conflicting dates and years when from various Wikipedia articles. So
Close enough.
bear with me.
Yeah.
They decided they didn't like Silicon and Synapse as a name because, as Brian hinted at, people were confusing silicon with silicone polymer that was used in breast augmentation. So they decided
Now,
to
did
go...
they make
What?
Did they make the Lost Vikings before they changed names? I'm trying to find the dates here, but
Oh.
the
Yeah, they
Lost
did.
Vikings, Lost Vikings was one of their first like independent, not
Original,
just
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
And I gotta say,
their
I was
second,
telling,
yeah.
and I gotta say, I've never played this game, but I remember reading Nintendo Power and talking to other kids at the time about this, and everybody was like, it was great because it was it's this experience that we've all had by now where lots of games have touched on this theory of like you have different units with different abilities, but at the time it felt fairly unique of like you've got the three different ones. Was it two or I think it was three different
Yeah,
ones,
there were three.
and you had them all on the screen at the same time. So it wasn't like you were playing different ones in different levels. Every level you had to figure out, all right, this one can interact with this sort of trap or raise this door or whatever. So it was trying to figure out what situations to use them in.
I like the way
And
Brian just dove right into like the knee deep thing without explaining what in the blue hell he's talking about.
so did anybody actually play the Lost Vikings?
Yes.
Okay, then someone that did, why don't you do a better job than me because I don't mind.
So
It's,
we're not
uh,
even there yet. So
Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
first they made Rock and Roll Racing for the Super Nintendo, which is a sequel to RPM Racing that was much better and it was a it's not quite an isometric view. I don't actually know how to describe this.
Isn't
Wait,
it isometric?
Do what?
Isn't it isometric?
Is it?
I thought it was.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I guess. Now that I've zoomed in, I guess it probably is. But it's an isometric racing game that uses like rock music by actual bands, not like Doom did a little while later, where they just ripped off actual band music and called it that's our original music. Sure it is. But no, it's got like Bad to the Bone and by George Thorogood, and Highway Star by Deep Purple, and Paranoid by Black Sabbath. And various others. Born to Be Wild, Radar Love. That was in the Genesis version, but still. And yeah, it was much better received. EGM gave it the best driving game of 1993, which that had to be an
Cool.
honor, I guess, maybe.
I'm not sure what the competition was, but
Yeah. But it's I've played it. It's fun. It's like at the time I was like, "Oh, this is like if RC Pro-Am, that NES game that was one of the first 3 NES games that we had back in the day, was
I remember it. Yeah.
on serious drugs."
It's also like it's also a battle racer, kind of like Mario Kart, right?
Yeah, you can blow each other up.
Okay.
which you could do in RC Prime too.
Oh,
Yeah, you had missiles and mines and stuff in that. Also, before I forget, Jay Spencer, thank you for that 63-month resub.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's for me it was most noticeable because of the music, because it had actual rock and roll music in this Super Nintendo game. What?
That is really impressive.
So okay, then they made the Lost Vikings. Mike, what the hell is that?
okay. Lost Vikings is a platformer puzzle game, and like Brian was saying, you have 3 different characters that have some different abilities that complement each other, and you have to use them in different ways to make it around the level and open doors and cross gaps. It is a lot of fun, and it encourages a lot of creative thinking. Like there's danger there, so you can actually like lose your Vikings to hazards, enemies and environmental hazards. And if you actually lose a Viking, it kind of makes it impossible to complete the level. So you can keep going, but you should probably just save yourself the time and start over. Unless
Because
just
you
want
need all of them
explore
to
some more.
get through the puzzles. Yeah.
Yeah, you need all of them. And I can't remember whether the exit door just doesn't work if not all of them are there. I don't remember that part. It's been too long. But yeah, like there's one Viking who can jump and like bust open walls with his head. There's another Viking who can actually hit enemies with a sword and shoot them with a bow and arrow, and can also activate switches with the arrow from
And
far
there's
away.
a fat guy.
And there's a big tubby one with a shield who can block enemy projectiles and use the shield as a platform for the other Vikings to walk around on, and also use the shield as a hang glider. So yeah, there's all kinds of neat stuff in there.
I just remember Olaf and Baliog. What's the other one's name?
I don't remember the names.
Well, hang on. I've got the internet. Eric the Swift, Baliog the Fierce, and Olaf the Stout. There we go.
Ah,
That's Eric with a K because he's a Viking.
Yeah, he is.
Yay.
Okay.
Yay. And somewhere in,
remember
around
the-
this time, they decided to change their name from brain stuff and booby filling to to Chaos Studios. But I don't think any games actually went out with the Chaos Studios name.
oh, so that didn't
No,
last very
they
long.
did.
Yeah, well, soon after that, it was they were picked up by what is this? What is the name of this place? Or the I know the
Davidson
name.
and
I don't know what it is.
Associates?
Yeah, Davidson and Associates, but they published educational software. They acquired Chaos Studios, and then there were lawsuits because Chaos. Well, there was a lawsuit sort of threatened by Chaos Technologies. So we're like, hey, that's ours. And they went, oh my God.
Chaos Studios, Chaos Technologies.
Yeah.
They probably said something about trademarking the word chaos, which is kind of ridiculous, but probably not worth the legal fight over.
Well, according to Wikipedia, they wanted $100,000 to allow them to keep using the name. And they went, we're not doing that. So
Yeah.
they're like, we'll change the name to Ogre Studios because they were working on Warcraft 1 at the time. And
Yeah,
the
makes
parent
sense.
company was like, the name sucks. So they went, oh, Jesus Christ. And just
Could you?
started, according to the Wikipedia article, they just started going through the dictionary, just
Really?
jotting stuff
Yep.
down that sounded cool. And they would
And
pass
they made
that
it
off
to
to
the
legal.
bees.
for legal to do a check on to see are we going to have any more of this chaos nonsense. And Blizzard was the one that went through, and they were like, nailed it.
They made it to the bees. Okay.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if Warcraft or World of Warcraft or anything come out under either Chaos Studios, which just sounds kind of edgelord now, or Ogre Studios? I can't see it. I can't see it.
Ugh. Or could you imagine if me, who has been using the name The Manapool for almost 20 years, sent out like, hey, give me money letters to like the various gaming stores and whatnot across the world that have popped up using that name? Because there have been several.
I'm sure there have been.
Is that a thing we could do? Do we have like a long-term use trademark sort of thing?
I'll look into it.
Yeah,
let me
refer
know.
us to somebody who does that sort of law.
I'll send you a bill. My hourly rate.
I know you don't do that sort of law, so
It doesn't stop me from charging you.
oh my god.
Or you could just send letters blindly and see who answers.
Yeah, give me $50 or I'm gonna come steal your sign. Hurry up.
You'd be surprised how often that works. But anyway, so they became Blizzard.
Blizzard Entertainment in 1993.
Nice.
And then more business crap happened, blah, 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 whatever. Then, let's see.
When did they put out Warcraft?
We're not there yet. So, according to the list of games here, the first one listed is The Death and Return of Superman. That side-scrolling beat-em-up.
Huh.
That
Good for them.
apparently they were the developers on that. I never knew that. And even in the Wikipedia article for them, they're mentioned over on the sidebar as developer Blizzard Entertainment, and nowhere else in the article.
Huh.
So that's neat. Didn't know that. That was in 94. Later in 94, they released Blackthorn, which is a... Oh, what are they called? Precision platformer?
I think I've heard of this one.
Think like
Precision.
Out of This World or Another World if you're from anywhere that's not the U.S. Or
I'm looking at the box art, and I'm looking at the box art for this, and I know I saw this in Blockbuster many times. I don't know that I ever actually rented it.
I remember spending a bit of time playing a demo for Blackthorn. I don't remember it being like the press X to not die kind of thing that Flashback and Another World had going on.
Really? I thought it was like that, but with shooting.
Okay, yeah, well, okay. So would Old School Prince of Persia count as a precision platformer?
Yes.
Okay, then I agree with you now. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mike approves.
Yeah, that type of thing where you press a button to jump and you jump a very exact amount. The Abe's Odyssey, those games are like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am the worst player in the world at Old School Prince of Persia. Like, you could take a 5-year-old who I don't know. Everything I could joke about would be way too more. You could take someone that's not good at games and give them the controller, but like invert the controls, and they would still do better than me. I don't do well, especially you remember in Prince of Persia you had like the timer where you could just lose the game if you took long enough. That did not, and meanwhile it had all the invisible like platforms that would fall down, and you had to, like Chewie said, precision. You had to hit everything just right, right? Oh, I hated that game. I really didn't like it. It wasn't fun. Didn't like it. So this was like that. Then I'm kind of glad I never rented it.
Yeah, I think I only ever played it like once quickly, and it was in emulation. I was like, Blackthorn, I remember this. This had the box art by, I think that's by Jim Lee. It looks very Jim Lee-ish if it's not.
It doesn't it? It does, doesn't it? Sorry.
Yeah, it's Jim Lee.
Oh, it is? Okay,
Mhm.
I was about to Google it. But yeah. Dirk, have you played any of these games? You haven't said much.
No, I haven't played any of those.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. You be quiet.
Yeah.
Not really. So yeah, that was up to, most of 94. And then they released Warcraft, Orcs and Humans. And things took a turn. Because Warcraft, Orcs and Humans was pretty popular from what I understand.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I tried the original game, and I didn't hate it like Prince of Persia. Ooh, but I wasn't terribly good at that either. I think I was. It took me a while to develop some of the skills, whereas I would take too long to do anything. By the time I was finally feeling good enough to start producing combat units, the enemy will have killed me. So I was just there chopping my trees. But it was
Yeah.
immensely popular. Go ahead.
I was saying, yeah, I was too much of a little kid to be able to play it properly when I played it. I just wouldn't. Someone would have had to teach me. It's like, okay, you gotta always be building something, so you don't fall behind. It's like, no, there's no way I would have landed on that on my own.
I mean, I still can't play real-time strategy games against other people at all.
Mhm.
I've gotten better, but like the last time I really played any of these was StarCraft 2, and every time I would try to play against someone online, they had a pretty good shot of beating me. I always liked the creative strategies. I remember when I would play in the dorm with a bunch of people. I think some of you were involved in this, um, but I would always like rush to build Dark Templars and stuff like that because I was like, hey, it's cool, it's always cloaked. But anybody with an actual knowledge of build orders or in competitive play, I didn't stand a chance because I wasn't really into the min maxing. In Magic terms, I was definitely a Johnny and not a Spike. So,
Right?
but I think just before I know I mentioned a couple later games, returning to the original one that came out, um, I think it did well because it was something that people hadn't really seen. You'd seen like RPGs and that sort of thing before. The Super Nintendo was available at the time, so you'd seen a couple of Final Fantasy titles, a couple of Dragon Quest titles, but this resource management, taking it back to another segment we've done a couple times, the real time, having the build order, having to collect these resources to sustain your army and to expand and to think about like it almost had a town building aspect with where do you place your food resources, where do you place your barracks, things like that, so that they're protected, and knowing that your resources weren't infinite. In an RPG, if you're low on money, you just go out and beat up monsters until you have enough. Maybe you're in an area where it's difficult to do that, but at some point the game will make it available to you. The game really
Mhm.
has infinite money. But in Warcraft, you don't have infinite lumber. If you cut down all the trees, you're done with the lumber. It's not growing back. So I think that this game, looking back on it, was really unique, and I think it had a couple of layers of strategy you didn't see in other games. You agree?
I mean, it
At
wasn't
that
the
time.
first real-time strategy game, but
What
Yeah,
was
but
the
they were,
first?
but before it, they were few and far between.
yeah,
And
they were apparently directly inspired by Dune 2 by Westwood, which was not the
mm,
first RTS, but like the first really popular one. So they were
Yeah,
they
and I
were
think
up
it was
there.
the first
They
that
were
was
early.
like popularly called real-time strategy.
Oh, wait,
I
really?
wasn't familiar with Dune 2. I've never read the books or anything or seen the movies, so to this day, I know. So I'm not familiar with them. So I will say Warcraft was definitely my first exposure to RTS.
Yeah, I mean it was still early, but it wasn't like seminal.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But
But it definitely put Blizzard on the map, so to speak.
oh yeah. And then the next year, wait, Dirk, did you play the first Warcraft?
No, I didn't start playing Warcraft until Warcraft 3.
Wow, you didn't
Oh,
play
wow.
1 or 2?
No.
Hey, me either. Or 3. Uh, so then the next year, 95, Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness came out. And I'm pretty sure, well, I won't say
Oh, wow,
the
there's only 1 year
stratosphere.
between them?
Do what?
There was only 1 year between them?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Wow.
Yeah, it came out in December, so just over a year.
So I played the first game a little bit. I played a lot more of the second game, and I will say, while there were some innovations like World of Warcraft, not World, but Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness had, you guessed it, ships. So and uh, both sides also had air units with dragons or griffins. So
Mhm.
you had more levels, more layers. For the most part, it was kind of the same game. So I don't think the code took a ton of tweaking. I'm not a programmer, so that's probably I'm not downplaying the effort they put into it, but the difference between 1 and 2 is like I don't know, like 3 out of 10, whereas 2 and 3 is like 8 out of 10. So there's a lot more involved there.
One of the biggest quality of life improvements for me between from 1 to 2 was taking out that fiddly thing where you had to like connect everything in your base with roads. That would always screw me up in 1. I would make everything way too cramped and I wouldn't be able to expand properly.
I think I remember that, yeah. Felt very Settlers of Catan.
Hmm.
So, but I will say I played a lot more of 2, and to no one's surprise, if you've known me for any time at all and you know what I enjoy about games, and I've talked about this before, one of the biggest draws was it came packaged with in some editions with a level editor. So you could make your own levels. And I was like, yeah, yeah, main campaign, great, blah 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 blah. But then I found out you could do that and I'm like, sweet. I've always enjoyed game design. Even when I'm terrible at it, I love to get in there and do my own stuff. So
Yeah.
it
That's
also
probably what
turns
my
out,
brother and I ended up doing the most of, messing around with the level editor, just creating these huge wacky maps like full of units and then just watching everything go crazy after we turned it on.
yep. And it's really funny when you think you've designed a really well balanced level and then you turn it on and you're like, that side has no literal way to get to that side. Good job, everybody. I
So
never said I was good at it.
a couple
Go
of
ahead.
things from chat. Last said, I don't know your guys' reason for not playing, but mine is because I was 4 years old. Oh, you're just a baby.
Oh yeah, we were much more than that.
I didn't
So,
have. I was 15 when Warcraft 2 came out. I didn't have any sort of PC thing until college, as far
yeah.
as gaming.
So, one thing of note, this comes from the book, Play Nice, was
Oh yeah,
during the
that
time of
was. Wait a minute, Dirk.
Warcraft and all those.
Wait, Dirk. Explain what Play Nice is, because that was before we started the show.
Okay. So, one of the books that I read or I listened to
That's reading.
Prior to this was Play Nice, The Rise, Fall, and Future of Blizzard Entertainment. Let me pull up because and it's by
Ah.
Jason
Oh, is that
Schreier.
Schreier's book?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not realize that was the book you were talking about. I love
Yeah.
Jason Schreier. He's good.
I mean, it's a really good book that and again, obviously not being endorsed by it, but having read it, it was a really good book. But during the Warcraft and during all this, there was a lot of exchanging of ideas. This is kind of when they were going through this is a bunch of just nerds all building and creating, and this is when everyone had their juices flowing with regards to mental creativity. That's what I'm looking for, not for other things. But um, their creativity was really amped. This was when they were like, we want to make games that we want to play. And so that's where these are coming out. But this is also the beginning of these guys are staying up super late and putting in a lot of time into making stuff. And where that culture of you're going to stay here until this is done sort of culture started to come out, where this is where, like, again, people would start to get burned out from staying was like 18 hours, and a lot of them just started living in the offices until the games were published.
I
But
didn't
they
realize this
enjoyed
is when
doing
it
it because they
started.
were there with their friends doing this, because again, it was like a dorm culture. So at that time, they were doing it because, we wanted to put this thing out, but we also are having fun. Later on, it starts to become, you're here until the game's out, and people are just hating it. So that comes later.
Yeah, everything starts with the best intentions.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, we really need to get this out by the deadline or we're going to lose, $1 million. Let's all work a little
Hmm.
harder. Okay. A couple of years down the line, you're basically slaves and we can replace you at any point. So you've gotten 2 hours of sleep, get back to work.
But this is also still the period where they were willing to be like, this game is, it's just not doing what we want to do. So you know what? We're gonna hold off on. We're gonna make sure this thing works. So it was this weird
Yeah.
dynamic of it's not working. We're just gonna leave it. We're gonna continue working on this. We're gonna hold off on publishing it, but that also meant that people were staying until they felt like it was in the place where they were happy with it.
Yeah.
So
The
even
Blizzard
worse.
the Blizzard soon came from that original when it's done uh, approach.
Oh
I
yeah,
really wish
that
more
was
studios took the when it's done approach.
a company like mandate was it'll be ready when it's ready,
Yeah.
and they started using that to reply to people, asking about stuff in like the Blizzard forums and whatnot years later, and it just became the company line. It'll be ready when it's ready. So the other thing from chat, last said, didn't Warcraft 2 introduce multiplayer? And no, Warcraft 1 had multiplayer,
Yep,
but
it did.
the expansion for Warcraft 2, what was it called? The Dark something, the Dark Beyond the Dark Portal,
Beyond
The
the
Dark
portal.
Portal.
had a BattleNet integration. So that's when Battle.net became a thing. So that might be when it made multiplayer easy.
Oh, okay. So was 1 and initially 2 just like local LAN?
No. Wait a minute, hang on.
guess local LAN is kind of redundant. It's like saying ATM machine.
Yeah. Which everybody freaking does. Here we go. The game allows 2 players to complete a multiplayer contest by dial-up modem or local networks.
Okay.
And enables gamers with the MS-DOS and Macintosh version to play each other. Oh. It doesn't specify anything else, but I'm guessing I remember, so, like 5 years after this, wanting to hop into a game of Counter-Strike. I know nothing about early PC stuff, by the way, but I remember wanting to hop into a game of Counter-Strike with my roommate and his buddies.
Mm-hmm.
Was like casting an eldritch spell.
Oh, yeah.
Like I needed IP addresses and whatnot. And that was literally 5 years later through Steam, through Valve, because Steam wasn't a thing yet. But so I imagine that before Battle.net, multiplayer PC stuff was beyond my ken.
Yeah, you probably had to get on MIRC and find a room where people were looking for games and find addresses that way.
Possibly. Someone listening to this will be like, that's not how it worked at all, and will leave us a comment or something somewhere. So, and then we'll know. But
And knowing's half the battle.
That's
Wrong
what
franchise.
I hear. It's 25% blue lasers. It's 25% red lasers. It's 50% knowing. Anyway.
I understood that reference. Anybody
So, yeah,
ever find it interesting? Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Warcraft 2 sold way more than Warcraft 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And was the world's most commercially successful computer game of the year as of November, according to PC Data. Which I think PC Data is a site. Or maybe it was a magazine? I don't know.
Oh.
But yeah, it's not... It's what literally put Blizzard on the map. Like, Warcraft 1 was a thing. Warcraft 2 was a phenomenon. Do. Phenomenon. And Blizzard will do that a lot in the coming, decade.
Yes.
Oh, Mycroft said it wasn't even internet. Before TCP IP, it was IPX/SPX local networking Novell protocols. The BattleNet edition did indeed make internet multiplayer easy. There we go. Ha! I inferred things.
Good job.
So, yeah, Beyond the Dark Portal came out in 96. And then in 97, they released 2 games. One of which was The Lost Vikings 2, which does not matter. The other one is Diablo.
Yay.
There it was.
Now, when I was doing some research for this, I saw a video that seemed to imply that Diablo was being created by another company, and they were basically bought by Blizzard. Is that
Absorbed,
right?
Yeah.
Just like Om Nom Nom.
Yeah, they were... It was... who was it? Development. Here we go.
Condor Games.
Condor. Yeah, there we go. And for various reasons, Blizzard just absorbed them or bought them and renamed them to... That's Blizzard North, right?
Right.
Yes, Blizzard North. That's right.
Yeah. And Diablo is a top-down dungeon crawling action RPG. Surely you know what Diablo is if you're listening to this episode.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's why we have a genre of Diablo clones.
I mean, they're not called that anymore.
I guess so.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, earlier I forgot to read this other thing. Dirk, you could probably speak to this since you read the book. Mycroft said, my favorite anecdote is that Blizzard was so sure they'd get the Warhammer license if they just asked, so they built most of the game, showed it off. Games Workshop said, nah, and then they had to go make an original IP.
Mm-hmm.
Was that in the book?
And
I don't remember that off the top of my head, but it wouldn't surprise. There might have been something in there about that. Yeah.
I mean, I believe it. On the surface, it looks
Yeah.
obvious, like something like that happened.
Right. That they were like, we're gonna do this, and then they were like, oh, we can't. Well, okay, we'll just call it something else.
We'll make our own Warhammer with blackjack and hookers and orcs and humans. Orcs and
which is
humans.
funny because
Hey!
if they had gotten Warhammer, they never would have had the impetus to make this individual property, you know?
Yeah.
I wonder if that is apocryphal or if that's
No, I
here
don't
we
think
go.
it's contagious.
According to Patrick Wyatt, the producer of Warcraft, Warhammer was a huge inspiration. The game was originally meant to be an RTS adaptation of Warhammer. Blizzard was unable to receive a license from its IP owner Games Workshop, so decided to make its own IP. Oh,
All right.
there you go. That is not apocryphal. That is a thing that happened. So thank you, Mycroft. It sounded vaguely familiar when you said that, but I didn't put any more thought into it. So yeah, Mike, or I assume it's just Mike, but I don't know how many of you Diablo'd.
Mm-hmm.
So how many of
I
you
have
Diablo'd?
Diablo'd.
A lot.
One, I feel like this is just a trend with me. One was too difficult, but then two absorbed my life for a while. I've finished Diablo 2 on multiple difficulties.
But we're not there yet. So Mike, tell us about Dibbles.
Okay, Diablo. Okay, it would be more like formally called an action role-playing game. You run around going through dungeons, hitting things and stealing their stuff, and going back to town and buying more stuff, and going back in the dungeons and hitting things and stealing their stuff, and so on and so forth, until you get to the very bottom of the last level of the dungeon and beat the big boss, and then you get to go start over again at a harder difficulty with the new stuff you stole from all the creatures you killed the first run through. It's pretty simple to explain the gameplay loop, but it's like really fun. It's like super fun. There's all kinds of magic items to find. You might even get hosed by a cursed item if you're unlucky. The first Diablo just had 3 different classes: a warrior and was it called a wizard or a mage? I don't remember, and a rogue. And then there was an expansion. Hellfire added a bard and a monk, or maybe one of those was locked up, and you had to like add a patch to do it. I should look that up. Interesting to note, Hellfire was developed by Sierra Online. No, sorry, published by Sierra Online. It wasn't a Blizzard thing. But
I was about to say it's not even listed here, but that would be why.
yeah, it's not something that Blizzard made. Hellfire was a third-party expansion.
It was made. It was released by Synergistic Software.
Okay.
Whoever that is.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, this is one of those things, like we said earlier, where it was just this massive breakthrough that was a huge sensation. People loved it, played a bunch, tell their friends about it. Their friends would play it. Diablo, the original Diablo, also had online multiplayer play. You could use it to run dungeons and find even stronger loot in some circumstances and trade loot with other people. And you could also use online play servers to use a dupe bug to duplicate high-end stuff to trade with people. That was kind of a problem. But yeah, it's fun. Spawned a bunch of different games that were, varying levels of copy of it. And introduced a ton of game mechanics that would be reused in so many other games, not just action role-playing games like this one, but even ones that are only tangentially like it. For the loot system and the equipment system and the leveling up and all kinds of stuff.
Phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Did you mention? I've been listening, and I was waiting to see if I heard you say this, and maybe you said it and I didn't get it. But the random level generation.
I did not. It has a random seeded procedural level generator to generate all the dungeons. They aren't fixed. There are a few levels and a few areas that have a fixed
Like boss
layout.
levels. Yeah.
Yeah, that have a fixed layout for story and mechanic reasons. But besides that, for the most part, levels are procedurally generated. So when you when you start a new game, you're not going to find the exact same dungeons and layouts and enemy placements and entrance and exit placements that you did on your previous playthrough, and that makes it a lot more interesting and adds to the replayability of it.
Mhm.
That
Not just
tripped me
going
out.
not just
when I
going and
first
getting
played
more
it.
stuff. Mm-hmm. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And then it also makes exploring that map feel a little more rewarding because it's not like the fifth time I played, Final Fantasy IV, I know on any given map where
Yeah.
the treasures are, but in Diablo, I don't. So, yeah.
Awkward.
Yeah. There might be a mob of enemies that drop awesome stuff in one playthrough in a certain area. There might be a barrel with nothing in it. There might be a treasure chest with an amazing sword. There might be a treasure chest with you go back to town and identify it and discover you picked up a rusty axe of the nonsense. But
Oh, I love the
Um,
rusty axe of the
every time it's
nonsense.
different.
I'm
It's
sorry. Did you
broken.
say the rusty axe of the nonsense?
Yeah,
Yes.
it was very rare, but it was possible to get. So the vast majority of special attributes for magic items are positive. Every once in a while, you could get one with a negative attribute, and it was very rare, but possible to get one with two major bad attributes. So you'd just be like, I
Yay, I
can't
won the
believe,
lottery.
yeah, I can't believe I
Uh,
wasted 100 gold or 10 gold or however much it was to identify this.
That, huh? All right then.
But thankfully, those horrible ones were very, very rare.
So there you go. That's the first Diablo. Now,
Yeah.
behind the scenes, there were a bunch of this whole time. There was a bunch of bouncing around between parent companies and whatnot. Davidson and Associates was bought or merged or acquired or whatever, doesn't matter, boring for the podcast. But the big thing is in 1998 Blizzard was acquired, well, purchased, whatever, became part of Vivendi Games, which only really kind of matters because that's where they then stayed for almost a decade. Let's see, 2000. Yeah, that's where they stayed for a decade. So they are now part of Vivendi. And if you've ever heard of Vivendi, it's probably because they're the ones that bought Blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yep.
Right.
sure, they were other things, but you know, they bought Blizzard. And then in 1998, because Warcraft and Warcraft 2 were so good, they decided to try a sci-fi version of this RTS format.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1998, they dropped Starcraft, which I don't know if you guys have heard of Starcraft. It exploded.
Oh yeah,
all over the place.
And
even more than Warcraft, if you can believe it.
yeah, like, let's see here. How did it sell? Uh,
Amazing.
Actually, I don't think it was doing better than Warcraft for about a year or so, it looks like.
Hmm. Well, still.
A few years. But, like, a lot of RTS, like, people, you know the ones, the RTS people still say that the Starcraft Brood War is the best real time strategy game ever. So. But in 1998, they released StarCraft, then StarCraft Insurrection, then Brood War, then Retribution. They 1998 was the year of the StarCraft for Blizzard. And it was kind of a big deal.
I only ever picked it up after Brood War came out, and they had like the combo pack.
Yep.
So, but considering that they all came out the same year, I might have picked it up like the next year. I definitely picked it up. Okay, I started college in 2000, so I think I picked it up around 2000 2001
That sounds about right. Yeah.
when everyone had already figured out how amazing it was.
Mm.
But I mean, how what do we say about StarCraft?
Um, that one, it has the triangular uh, play style where, or like that. There's Warcraft had the triangular where this unit is weak against this unit but strong against this
Oh yeah,
unit.
the rock paper
Sort
scissors
of.
thing.
Yeah, the rock
The,
paper scissors
that a
sort of
lot of
format and everything.
games of that sort adopted.
Yeah. But what made it different was you had one race that was sort of uh, like long range, had long range abilities. That was the humans. Then you had the super aggressive, which was the Zergs, and then the powerful but has a lot of like uh, butt in terms of they could absorb a lot of damage to their shields, and the shields replenish themselves. That was the Protoss.
Had a lot of butt.
Yeah, it was like
Look at all that
toughness.
butt.
Nah, butt's what I remembered from our discussions in the
Yeah.
past. So
Yeah,
They
because
were
with
tanky.
Warcraft 1, a lot of the human or orc units were just basically one-for-one swaps, with
right,
only a couple of exceptions. And there was more diversity between the sides in Warcraft 2, but Starcraft, you see each side plays way differently than the other.
Yeah. Don't
yes,
forget, even the buildings worked differently because the the Terran, the human buildings, for the most part, could lift off and relocate. They were very slow, and when they were doing that, they couldn't perform their function, but they could do it. With the Zerg, they were actually organic buildings, and you had to actually sacrifice a unit to create a building, but
they could
then you had to
only the
place
buildings
them
had to
on
be built on the
creep.
creep.
But then that expanded the creep, which expanded how much you could see, so, and they would slowly regenerate over time. And then the Protoss buildings, like the Protoss units, would have built-in butts. They would have built-in shields that wouldn't. That those would also regenerate. I'm pretty sure. But then once you
Shields would
got to the
regenerate,
base
and
health, once you pierce the shields, wouldn't.
um, and the limitation for them is that you had to build a pylon which provided power to the buildings outside of it. So
Right.
you couldn't just
Yeah.
build buildings willy nilly. You had to build them within the area of a pylon.
So the buildings were unique, the units were unique. They all played very, very differently. as opposed to this unit but an orc.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it was a big deal.
Yeah,
And
we played that one in college.
was a whole new IP that
Yes.
Blizzard could build on. I am have never been a Starcraft person, and I'm still pissed that we never got Starcraft Ghost.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we all are.
Ghost
They
was
teased
a
that for so long.
yeah, Ghost was a real
Yeah.
time was a first person like action game set in Starcraft. Action stealth? I don't actually remember.
Well, they
Sniper?
never finished it, so
It was a stealth shooter,
Yeah,
wasn't
it
it?
was like a third person.
Or was it third person?
Uh,
Oh, my bad.
yeah, because I think you like you were over the shoulder of Nova.
Oh,
If I
see, that's
remember
how
some
long
of the
it's been.
stuff from it.
again, it was never done, so
Yeah.
they never finished it.
Then that was also the start of, well, that's not the start, but that was part of the trend with Blizzard where they would work on games and everything, and then either they would get frustrated or be like, okay, this is just that we're not gonna do this. That like we're just done working on this, and it just doesn't meet our standards and everything. Where they would be decently into a game development and then just decide, yeah, we're not doing this, and they would just pull like all the resources off of it. The notable one that they did that to, that got people kind of riled was Warcraft Adventures, Lord of the Clans, because that was a point and click uh, adventure game, and that one got pretty far into it, and then
Oh,
they just pulled the plug on it.
oh, I would have loved that.
I think I ever heard of that one.
Yeah, well, that one, what Blizzard did in place is they had a person write a novel about essentially that story. And I'm trying to remember, I don't know if it was Christy Golden who wrote it, but they had an author come in and write the
Match.
a book that covered all the basics of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like I said, I've got the book on the shelf. I'd have to go dig it out and everything, but everything, the essentially all the adventure that was going to happen in it got put into a book, and the book was able to flesh out things better than this adventure and make it. Yep, Christy Golden is the person who wrote the book.
Hmm.
And essentially that set the stage for the third game.
Interesting. Oh, Mycroft said you can find an in dev. I don't know what that means. Playable Lord of the Clans with the same animation house that did the Mario and Zelda CDI game animations. I have seen some of those with like a young thrall,
Mm-hmm.
and I always wondered if this game was canceled, where is all this coming from? But I guess stuff leaks. But yeah, Ghost. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Ghost was announced in 2002, and then finally canceled in I think '06.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was gonna be a stealth action game starring Nova, the ghost from
The new and
Starcraft.
upcoming, you know, character that was going to be focused on.
Yeah.
I do like how not skipping too far ahead, Here's the Storm, they brought her back to be like, look, we spent all this time making this character, here she is. But yeah.
Oh, she was a main
I was
source
gonna
in
say she was a main
StarCraft
character in
2.
StarCraft 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if main character exactly, but she was definitely in it.
Yeah.
Sorry, a main character is what I
Yeah.
said, Mister Nitpick.
A yeah. Character
Okay,
who makes a reappearance and is uh, relevant to the story.
that is yes.
But yeah, apparently Ghost was canceled because it was being made for the PS2 and Xbox, but it was at the end of the cycle, and they knew that if you release an Xbox and PS2 game when the 360 and the PS3 comes out, nobody's gonna play it.
Mm-hmm.
And so rather than, at least this is one of the corporate lines. And yeah, one of the that was the corporate line for the main reason that it was canceled. They were like, "We've spent all this time and money on it. We're not going to spend more time and money to try to make it for the next updated for the next system."
Generation. Yeah.
But anyway, let's get back to our timeline. So Starcraft came out. Where are
Right.
my notes? There they are. So we became part of Vivendi. Starcraft came out. Okay, in 2000 we get Diablo 2.
Yay.
Well, in 99 we get the Battle.net version of Warcraft 2 first. Then we get Diablo 2 in 2000. And that's where these guys all play. I've still never played a Diablo game. I played, that's a lie. I played the demo on the 360 of Diablo 3. And that's all. So yeah, would you guys like to go off on the complete insanity that was Diablo 2 as far as, another worldwide phenomenon? There are
Diablo
people still
1,
playing Diablo
yeah.
2, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I said, Diablo 1 I played a little bit. Diablo 2, just so much time spent on this game. I loved the classes, although I definitely settled on, I think it was the wizard or mage. But I loved how each class had skill trees. I know I've talked about this before, and I feel like modern skill trees are very forgiving. And if you're like, oh, you know what, I didn't mean to build into that, you can get your resource points back or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
in Diablo 2, I remember for the wizard, like you could specialize in different elements, and you could go into all of them. But if you did that, you would be severely lacking.
Yeah.
It was highly encouraged to specialize.
Yeah.
Um,
Many
yeah,
years, many years later, someone just flat out asked the developers, like, "Hey, why didn't you include a respec option in Diablo 2? Because it existed in World of Warcraft." And they were just like, honestly, we just didn't think about it.
hmm. But
And there
I
was
don't know.
and there was one added many years later in uh, in an update to the game. Like many years later. Like I started playing Diablo 2 when I was in college, and then like after I had finished grad school and was moved away and off at my first real grown-up job, that was when that update to Diablo 2 came that added the respec feature.
Which again goes to show you the longevity of the game. But for
Mhm.
me, I liked it. It felt like these decisions had weight. And you really couldn't pick anything that would ruin your character. So it's not like you're like, oh, by taking that one, I can't do anything else. It just, again, it felt like it had weight to it. Compared to like Final Fantasy X with the sphere grid, where you can move a character and literally have every node filled in. I gravitate more toward the making characters feel unique versus making them feel the same. But anyway, you've got more randomly procedurally generated maps. You've got a more in-depth story with more environments instead of just the one town, and you're moving into hell. You're going through jungles and deserts and all sorts of different areas. Um, I mean, it was just a bigger version of the original, but with many, many improvements, including the cube. You remember the cube?
Yes, the Roderick Cube. Had an item
Yes.
crafting system. That was awesome.
Yep. Very customizable too with runes and whatnot. So you really could so many customizable ways to make the character that played the way you wanted it to play. And very hard, which honestly made
Mm-hmm.
it feel rewarding when you could do well. But and the Coupe de Resistance, the secret cow level, which we've already talked about. So, I mean, it's been a while. I think we had a secret cow level episode, but
I don't know what you're
maybe I'm
talking
not.
about.
Moo. Moo.
Moo, moo, moo.
I
I
really
mean,
need to figure out how to remove the whole feed burner thing because people that might want to go listen to that can't because the RSS feed only goes back I think 100 episodes, which is ridiculous. I really got to figure out how to fix that. If anyone knows how to fix that, let me know. Hopefully by the time you're hearing this, I'll have figured it out. But
but I mean, I feel like I could go on. It's one of those things. It's like talking about Super Mario 64. Like, I could go on forever about it, but everybody knows it's Super Mario 64. I guess when we're talking about stuff and people in the comments are like wee babies, maybe they didn't play Diablo 2, but
but I mean a remake or whatever was released just 5 years ago, so
Yeah, very recently.
yeah. So, again,
and this
it's
year,
Diablo
a
2.
new expansion that added a new class was released for Diablo 2 Resurrected. You
I'm
could
out of the
be,
loop on that one.
yeah, you could
Yeah,
be a
now there's
warlock
a
now.
new warlock class. Yeah.
Craziness.
People love this game, and it's because it's awesome.
Yep.
This is not that hard to figure out, guys.
It's crazy how that works. All right. So then Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction came out in 2001, the expansion,
Yep.
which added new classes and stuff, whatever. We have a lot more to
Added
get through, and it's
another
already
act. Yep.
we've already been going for like an hour and a half. So 2002 Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos came out.
Yep,
And
that was my first Warcraft game that I actually played.
yeah, you thought Warcraft 2 was popular. Whoo boy. This was
Oh,
after
three, yeah.
this was after
Said, "Hold my beer."
StarCraft. So they had even more like oomph behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And what did Warcraft 3 do differently there, Zarkovsky?
Take it away, Dirk.
Um, I have no reference to the other ones, but it had chapters dedicated to the main races, which were start off with the humans, and then the undead, and then the orcs, and finishing up with the night elves.
Oh yeah, it had
So
a
there were the
giant story mode,
oh yeah.
Yes.
which the others didn't have a giant. They just had like
They
a
had a story
campaign or
mode.
something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They had campaigns.
Yeah, but they weren't
They
like
did.
stupid big like Warcraft 3's is.
This was
Right.
bigger.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And then the expansion came out, the Frozen Throne, and the Frozen Throne threw in another 4 campaigns. That one was the Night Elves, the Blood Elves, the
Herpaderps? I don't know.
the undead, and someone else.
I think the undead was the last camp
Undead
part
was
of
the
it.
last one.
Was it the
And when you play
humans?
the undead, and what also made it the whole Warcraft 3 thing was they essentially took the story of Arthur and the whole, humble the hero's journey from it, and they flipped it on its head and they did the anti-hero's journey
Hmm.
with Arthas, which again is not quite an anagram, but um,
A reference to.
yeah, it's a montage to, or gives reference to Arthur, slightly changing the name because in this case, instead of some lowly person becoming the king and so on, you take essentially the prince of the kingdom, and he goes on a journey where he eventually just walks the path of destruction all the way to the destruction of his home. And that, I think, is, you have one of the most iconic anti-hero villain stories of all time. Um, like right up there with Darth Vader in terms of like amazing storytelling. But it focuses sort of on that story, the second invasion of Azeroth, um, and just the one thing that I think the people who are working on, including Chris Metzen and all those, is you have the humans are always the good guys and blah 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 blah, but they kind of were in the vein of, couldn't there be good guys with the other side too? And that's kind of where Thrall comes in.
Orc
Is
Jesus.
that he's an orc who's, yeah, orc Jesus, but he comes in and he's like the bad guy, but he's actually a good guy, and like a really good guy.
Was he
So
half orc?
No, he's fully
No.
orc.
Okay.
Oh my God,
yeah,
Brian, that's so racist.
Well, I know. I'm sure I got that from a birther campaign
Garana is the
somewhere.
one. She's a half orcan.
Show us the
That's
birth certificate.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thrall.
So yeah, he comes in, so he's the big hero of it. Again, introducing tons of new characters who have significance to Warcraft history. Um, but setting up just that, again, groups that have been done dirty in this. That's why the elves have their own campaign in the Frozen Throne. Um, the high elves, who eventually become the blood elves, have their own story.
Mhm.
Who was the fourth one? The
Don't
fourth
bother them.
race. Now I'm actually.
There's the internet at your fingertips.
That's what I'm looking for. So
Was it Taurens? Night Elves?
there's the night elves, the blood elves, and then the undead.
Maybe it was just the three.
Oh, last says humans, orcs, undead, night elves.
Oh.
So there was a human campaign.
I think that was in the
Yeah.
the main game, the base game.
Okay, yeah. For whatever reason, I can't remember them.
Doesn't matter. We got 75 more games to talk about.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, anyway. But it was that, and what's also of significant note about that is the multiplayer version. So the Battle.net had all these maps, and one of the maps was called Defense of the Agents, Ancients.
Ancients.
And that one became such a big deal because of how it's set up that it actually became its own game genre, and that
Yeah,
was
that was a custom map with custom rules, right? That wasn't something
right,
that Blizzard
where you had
did.
3 lanes, and you had your characters, and they were supposed to defend the lanes and whatnot, and that's where the whole, what's it, the
MOBA.
Dota is the one that keeps coming to mind, but that's not what it's.
Yeah, Dota, Defense of the Ancients.
Well, that's, yeah, but yeah, Defense of the Ancients is what it was.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the genre is MOBA?
MOBA, that's what it was.
Yeah.
But that's where the origins of that came from, was Warcraft 3, like from a custom map.
Yeah, there was
So it's another shout out to how Warcraft 3 was significant.
it gets so weird. There's a custom map with custom rules in this real-time strategy game that became its own genre called
Yeah.
a MOBA. And then there was a custom game mode in that. Once it spun off into its own thing, there was a custom game mode in Dota 2 that became auto chess, that became the auto battler genre. So this what Warcraft 3 literally popped out 2 brand new game genres. It was the father of one and the grandfather of one.
Yep.
It's crazy. Ouch. But yeah. This is the Frozen Throne. I don't care how the Frozen Throne sold. I want to know how sales. Here we go. Warcraft 3 sold 1 million units in the first month after release, becoming the fastest selling PC video game in history at that time and surpassing the record set by, guess what, Diablo 2. So Blizzard had 2 best-selling PC games ever in a row. Surely such success would never be matched again. Oh God, the next thing they released was World of Warcraft.
Yep.
Oh God. Excuse me. So, World of Warcraft was Blizzard deciding, hey, we liked EverQuest. Let's do that, but better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's supposed to be their version of EverQuest.
And they did do that, but better. And it... Oh God, we can't get into the weeds on World of Warcraft because Dirk will talk for 8 hours and we won't even get to the other half. But
Nope.
but it's a massively multiplayer online role-playing game. That's what MMORPG stands for the 3 people listening who are like, what does MMO mean? There you go. That means you're all in playing together. Loosely.
Lots of you all get together, make friends.
Or don't. Whatever.
You'd
Play
rather
nice.
make friends, but you don't have to. But trust me, you really want to make friends.
But yeah, they started work
Especially
on
the original, but anyway.
They started work on WoW at the end of 1999.
That
They
took a while.
announced it in 2001. In 2004, one of the founders, Alan Adam, was like, "I'm out. I'm burnt out from all of this work on WoW," and he just bounced. And then at the end of 2004, in November, World of Warcraft launched and became insane. Last in the chat said 20 plus years of WoW, playing it right now. Oh my God. Let's look at him. He's multitasking. He also said, I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Manapool community all know what an MMO is. I mean, there might be like a couple people that don't know the specific term. But yeah, it was a runaway hit. Just the most ridiculous. It sold, let's see here, the reception. Very positive reviews, yeah. Where's this? Oh, it's, wait, did you have to buy WoW and pay the subscription fee?
Yep.
Jesus,
Yeah.
this is double dipping.
Yep.
Yeah, free to play wasn't a thing yet back then.
Nope.
Well, I guess that makes sense because you would have to go to the store and get a physical disc.
Yeah, that's true.
Because and the original game, it was 3 or 4 discs. I think it was 4 discs long. So you got your game, and then you spent like the next hour or two, watching it load, Okay, disc 1 complete. All right, disc 2. I'm watching it. All right. So you got that first day was just you loading the darn game, and then you had to go set up the subscription. You had to make sure you had a uh, Battle.net or Blizzard account and all that. Because I don't know if by then they had actually merged Blizzard account in and Battle.net account together, so that way they were one thing at that point.
I don't know.
But
But
yeah, I remember I dropped my $50.
WoW was the best-selling PC game of 2005 and 2006. It sold 1.4 million copies by August 2006. It was the country's third best-selling computer game between January 2000 and August 2006. How does that work? Okay. On January 2nd, 2008, World of Warcraft had more than 10 million subscribers worldwide. And how much was the subscription per month back then?
It was like not may have been like $9 for like a month, or it wasn't all that expensive per month. But the more time, the longer your subscription was, the less you paid overall, but you paid more up front. So
Makes
if it was
sense.
like $9.99 for 1 month, it was $8.99 if you got 3 months, but you paid whatever 8 9 the 9 times, so it was $27.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh, and then so on, so up to the 6 month subscription.
Last said $15 a month since I've been playing. Well,
Yeah.
so that was 2004. Now, nothing else happened other than WoW expansions as far as game releases for 4 years. Sorry, for
15, yeah.
years.
Yeah.
But something important happened in the middle of that. And it's probably unfortunate. But in 2008, Vivendi, hey, you remember them? The ones what owned Blizzard?
Mm-hmm.
In
Yes.
2008, well, all right, hang on. Oh, this I'm still on the WoW page. I was like, this is not what I was reading. So in 2008, Bobby Kotick. Well, in 2006, really.
Ooh.
Bobby Kotick, who is the CEO of Activision and who is the devil. I'm not even going to say allegedly. Come at me. You are the devil. Saw how much money WoW was bringing in subscription fees, and we're like, I want some of that money. And so Activision set about to, buy Vivendi or merge with Vivendi. I don't know the appropriate terminology, business terminology, but long story, slightly less long. In July 2008, the merger was done, and Vivendi games pretty much evaporated, except for Blizzard, which became Activision Blizzard. And that's not where things took a turn. Things didn't take a turn for a while. But that's important, is that now the most evil person in video games now owns the company. All right, or now is the CEO of the company. All right, that's important.
Yeah.
Just stick a pin in that. All right, so then in 2010, Starcraft 2 came out. What?
Nice.
And
Starcraft
Starcraft
2
2
was amazing.
also was super popular.
Oh yeah, I remember
It-
2000.
Go
I
ahead.
remember 2010 really well because it was a big year. It was the year I graduated law school. It was the year that Sam was born, and I remember waiting to take the bar exam to hopefully become a lawyer. And you've got some downtime in there. And I went to law school with Christy Andreos, very much into games as well. And she was talking about StarCraft 2 I had not picked up, and she said it's like playing a movie because the graphics were so cutting edge at the time. Looking back, I think they still hold up pretty well. I haven't
They
touched
do.
it in a
Yeah.
couple of years, but and I know that some people, as Chewy alluded to earlier, still fall back to StarCraft Brood War as the epitome of real-time strategy, but StarCraft 2 had some really nice features to it, and I especially loved during the story, the campaign, how you could make the modifications to your home base and just kind of spruce it up a little bit. It was like StarCraft meets what is that? Animal Farm? No, that's the book
Animal
by
Crossing.
H.G.
Animal
Wells.
Crossing?
Animal Crossing. Thank you.
Yes,
Ooh,
Tychus, it turns out, is one of the pigs.
Mhm.
He's holding
so
a plasma rifle in his trotters. We couldn't tell
Chewy, you have a
him from the humans. What?
yeah, Chewy, you have a good Titus voice. I want you to say all animals are made equal, but some are more equal than others, as Titus.
No.
Aw.
So, thing of note, again, coming from the Play Nice book and everything. So Warcraft was doing amazing, and the lead team, so Team One, what like was again had all the old veterans who did the RTSs, and they really were not into doing the other stuff. They were still this was the hardcore group that wanted to make RTS games. But at that time RTSs were falling out of favor, so like they just were not selling. So the reason why they got the StarCraft 2s made is their goal was to revitalize the RTS genre, which is why when you play the humans, they you have the customization with the humans, and then when you had the other two games come out, you still have the customizations, but each one of them plays drastically different, which they already played different when you played the first StarCraft, but they play very different with StarCraft 2. And it was because they were trying to revitalize the RTS genre as a whole because it was dying. Like by 2010, nobody was making RTSs anymore.
Well,
They're the only
because
ones that did. And
um,
because it was dying, if you check the numbers, Chewy, you're going to find that StarCraft 2 did not sell well. None of them sold amazing. They
What?
had strong sales, but not what the projected selling was, and it's kind of the reason why it did not get support. Um, Once Legacy of the Void, they did have the episodic stuff with Nova Overt Ops, but they were expecting it to like they were going to keep pumping out and cranking out more stories, and it got cut off after 3 episodes because they were not selling what the expectation was, which is also why it went free to play in 19 or 2017 was because again it wasn't selling like they were hoping.
Which is in. This must be Activision's
It was.
hand, because according to the Wikipedia page, Blizzard announced that StarCraft 2 sold more than 1 million units worldwide on its first day.
It did.
The next 2 days after its release, they began selling it as a digital download on its website and sold 500,000 more. It was the fastest selling strategy game of all time. In the first month, it sold 3 million units worldwide. As of 2010, it had sold 4.5 million units. So, and the
Yeah,
pirating apparently added to that number a lot, not for sales, but for number of people playing, reportedly being downloaded over 2.3 million times. setting a record for most data transferred by a single torrent in only 3 months. Okay, that's funny.
Well, but keep in mind, when you produce an independent film and you make $18 million, you're like, this is amazing. It was against a budget of 500,000. This is great. And when Marvel makes $18 million on its film, it is a colossal failure, and half of the department is getting laid off. So at this point, that is a great first day for them, but I think Dirk's point is about the longevity of it, because so
Yeah.
much of their resources had shifted to WoW and the things that were getting them money from subscriptions. I'm sure, like you said, it probably sold like gangbusters, and you probably would have sold subscriptions to Battle.net for, unless Battle.net was free, but I don't remember.
No, the subscription was for WoW.
Just for WoW itself.
Yeah.
Okay. So
As far as
so
I know.
you're charging people 50, $60 for a game, and you're getting that once, but otherwise you're getting between $9 and $15 from them a month for from some people 20 years. So
Yeah, like Bobby Kotick saw that they were raking in $1 billion a year just from the subscriptions to WoW, and that's where he was like, I want some of that money. Or he was like, I want some of that money, because he's the devil.
Well, and the problem too is that the Starcraft games are, you sell it, awesome, but now there's nothing else coming in. Where again, World of Warcraft was consistently, because of the subscribership, was always bringing in money, and that's again why Starcraft got its, like, the fact they got all three games out is awesome, because again they were churning out these games. It was making money, but once they were out the door, there was no extra income coming in. And I think that's why they try to do the episodic thing, but at that, the main story was wrapped up, and you're just kind of tagging this on, and it just wasn't making any more money, and so that's why they cut the losses with it. It just wasn't making enough to warrant, continuing to finance it.
I'm getting the
And in the
feeling
middle
that
of all that was
something
Titan.
here is fishy. In the middle of all
Don't
that,
forget Titan was in this, and Titan was a giant money
No, we're not
sink.
there yet. We're not there yet. Nope.
stay on target.
Stay on target. Okay, so 2010, StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty comes out. The first expansion, Heart of the Swarm, doesn't drop until 2013. Didn't realize it was that long.
Yep.
And then Legacy of the Void was in 2015. Wow, really? Jesus. Okay.
Yep.
But the next big release was in 2012. Wait, do I have any notes for anything before that? Nope. 2012 was Diablo 3, which caused edgy nerds the world over to piss their pants and cry because the game dared to use color.
Yes.
This was the first big controversy thing that I personally ever saw about Blizzard, was Diablo 3's using colors. They're sissifying it or something, because the screenshots weren't just black. I never understood this. And people are like, well, you didn't play Diablo 2. That is correct. But this game looks amazing, just from what I've seen. And they're like, no, it's got too much color. I'm like, what is wrong with you idiots? And if you were one of those people and you're listening to this, I hope you're a better person now, because you were an idiot back then. Mike, were you an idiot back then?
Oh no.
Okay, good.
I just didn't. I didn't pick up Diablo 3 for a while because I was like, I didn't know whether I wanted to spend the money on it, and I was still having fun with Diablo 2.
True.
I say that's not what I remember. The big issue with Diablo 3 was that you had to. It was the auction house was one of the things.
Oh, sorry, this was before it came out. This was the big controversy. They released the first batch of screenshots, and nerds started to cry. So then the game
Yeah,
came out,
before it
and what
came
was
out,
it
it was
about?
about the look. Huh?
I said, so then the game came out, and something. Where were you going with that, Dirk?
There was a controversy about you could use actual money to buy stuff and on the auction house, and that got
Yeah, there
that
was a real money auction house and also the gold auction house.
right. And because of that, it was like people were the whole thing was to drop money into it and whatnot, but there were people who were trying to make money off of farming stuff and selling it and like actually making money off of it. And it seemed like a pay to win scheme was going on, and that really rubbed people the wrong way.
And it also had an always online feature that
Yep.
I can't remember if this was the default setting or if you had to opt into it. I think it started out as the default setting, but then they changed it to an opt-in setting where people could just drop into other people's games, just like randomly.
Hmm.
Because you were always online. Even if you were playing a single player game, you might find someone just show up for no reason. But
Yeah, because the game had no offline single player, which was another controversy.
yeah, until they until they reworked some default settings later on. Yeah, one thing for me is that I didn't experience a lot of the worst problems with gameplay because it was a few years before I finally picked it up. So they had already changed some of that stuff. By the time I picked it up, um, the auction houses were only going to last another couple of years. They eventually shut them off. And by the time I picked it up, they'd also made some major revamps um, to the skill system and the item system, I think too.
Hmm.
So it went through some big revisions in the
Yeah.
years after it came out, and I really like where it landed because once I started playing it, I had tons of fun.
I enjoyed the game as well. I didn't pick it up until 2014. I was playing uh, Warlords of Draenor, and there was a thing where if you bought the game, you got something in it. Either you played WoW and got a discount on Diablo 3, or it was something of that. But if you had one, they incentivized you to buy Diablo 3. So I ended up buying Diablo 3 purely because it was incentivizing
Mm.
um, to for you to do it, and so I did. And I played it. I really enjoyed it. And got to play Reaper of Souls. That was also pretty awesome too.
Oh yeah, the expansions were good.
Yeah, and I think that was why is because Reaper of Souls was coming out, and so they were like, "We want you to buy this game because we want you to buy Reapers of Souls." So, and again, it was a crossover thing that incentivized you to do it, and that's why I ended up doing it.
That is one thing Blizzard is very good at.
Yeah,
It's like, hey, you
cross
Mm.
like
marketing
this
between
game
their
we make?
games.
You should play this game we make. Here's a
Mm.
thing for that game. I'm like, oh, I guess I'll go play that game. They're like, yes, give us your money. Uh,
Get a skin in Heroes of the Storm by playing Diablo 3.
hell yeah. Wait.
Yep, and I
So yeah.
think
Oh,
yeah. What I was saying is that in the uh, Starcraft 2, that may have been the first time I remember. Yeah, of the games they've got listed, that's the first time they had a cross game uh, reward. Because if you bought the collector's edition of StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty, they gave you when you played World of Warcraft, you actually got in game rewards if you
Mm.
bought the collector's edition. So you get pets, you get banners and gear and stuff like that. So, and I think that may have been the reason why I bought Diablo 3 was there was stuff like if you do this, you get these rewards. as part of it. So
Shiny. So
'cause
all
I ended
right.
up with a devil creature pet.
All right,
In
we
it.
have another 12 years to go. Shut up. All right. The next big thing, 2013, like I said, the first expansion for StarCraft 2, Heart of the Swarm, came out. Mists of Pandaria come out in 2012 too. Another Warcraft expansion. Doesn't matter. There's 100 of them. Or what are there? 12 of them? 13?
There's a bunch.
What is it? What's the last one called?
9 expansions.
Is it just 9? Really? War Within is
No,
the 10th
this would be
expansion.
10th one just came out.
Yeah.
Because
in
it says not with the War Within, and they just released Midnight, so that's 10.
Oh, Midnight's 11.
Midnight's 11. They're counting the base game as 1.
I don't know. It says it's the 11th expansion pack, so I'll let you and Wikipedia argue. But anyway, 2014, they wanted to try to get in on
it's
some of the smaller, like, some of the smaller scale games. You know, not massive World of Warcraft or big sprawling epics. So they released Hearthstone, a collectible card game based on Warcraft.
I've heard of this.
Yeah, and Brian started playing it, and I think then
Yep.
Mike started playing it, and then they got
Yeah.
me into it, and then I hated them.
And then we both got out of it before he did.
And I stayed for way too long. Have you guys thought to look at Hearthstone lately?
I
No.
looked at them like a year ago, and I was like, "That seems kind of cool." And I saw some of the like waunchy the card reveals. Not
So
raunchy, but the wonky. I don't know. I liked some of the previews, but it was not enough to make me download the game again.
Yeah, I forget who it. One of the people on Second Wind, was it Design Delve? I think just recently did a video about looking at the UI of Hearthstone, and it is so crammed full of "Hey, give us your money" crap that I'm glad I quit when I did.
Somehow not surprised.
Yeah, but we'll get to that. But yeah, Hearthstone came out, was extremely popular. And it wasn't a one and done. It was free to download. But if you wanted to, stay on top of things, you had to buy booster packs.
Yeah.
Because it's a collectible card game. And now we see them starting to veer in the ways to other ways
Monetization.
other than World of Warcraft to get a constant revenue stream from people. But they were. It was really well handled. The expansions were good. The community, not the community. The developers were good. Ben Brode was the head guy, and they were good about nerfs and buffs for the most part. Mike and I used to do a nerf report back in the day.
Wow, you're right. Gosh.
Mike had completely forgotten about all of that. And yeah, when there were problems, they would handle them. Of course, the community would complain, but that's what gaming communities do.
For the most part, it would handle them.
But yeah, by and large, I had... What?
Quest Priest still sucked, but whatever.
But by and large, for the however many years I played Hearthstone, I didn't have any major complaints with the way things were handled. By and large, at least while Ben Brode was there. When he left, things started to shift in other directions, but But we could spend a lot of time on Hearthstone, but we're not gonna. We all played. Dirk, did you play Hearthstone? I forget.
I did.
Yeah, we all played Hearthstone. It's a card game. Like, I don't know. Go ahead.
I know I started to back off from it when they started doing those season track things for the rewards for each set. And I was just like, okay, I'm just going to have to accept that I'm not going to be able to collect everything on this track. And that was kind of freeing. And it eventually let me just set down the game a little later when I was like, yeah, I'm not having fun with these sets anymore.
Yeah, I think I was there through like 2 of those, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just 1? Oh, chat said, didn't Chewie commit too hard to Hearthstone for YouTube and burn himself out? No, I just dropped Blizzard entirely, but we're not there yet. We're getting there, though. So that's 2014. Do I have any note? When's my next note? 2021. Okay. In 2015, Heroes of the Storm came out because they had lost the legal battle for Dota. And so they're like, we'll make our own MOBA with blackjack and hookers and our own IPs. And so they made Heroes of the Storm, which is a MOBA that was a giant crossover. You remember the crossover episode we did not long ago? Heroes of the Storm was that. It was like playing with all the Blizzard toys. They had Starcraft characters, they had Warcraft characters, they had Diablo characters. Later they put in the Lost Vikings as a playable characters. Like, it was ridiculous.
I remember the guys came over to play Magic one time, and the trailer for Heroes of the Storm had just dropped, and I showed it to them, and it shows like Nova trying to take on Diablo with Kerrigan flying overhead. And I'm like, I don't really care what kind of game this is. This has me intrigued. I'd never played a MOBA before, and I was the first one of us to play this, and I don't think I exactly got Chewie into it. I think he was kind of looking at it already. But I was definitely playing it first, and I played it for a while. And honestly, it was fun. I did not mind the daily login, play a couple games, even if I suck, and get the skins. I was purely free to play. I really enjoyed it. My concern with a game like that is you have to play with other people. You just have to. What if they hate me? And then a little ways into it, I got over it because the people that were going to hate me were going to hate anybody. And I was not terrible enough that I felt like I was always dragging the team down. So I liked it. I dropped it eventually. The same reason I drop a lot of games is I just don't feel like I have the time. These games that reward you for doing daily stuff seem great until you realize I already have a job. So at a certain point, it's not worth it to me anymore. But yeah. I enjoyed it for quite a while, definitely over a year. I couldn't track exactly how long I did. It was probably like 2 or 3 years, and then I was like, meh. And the funny thing is, like Hearthstone, and Heroes of the Storm, the minute I put it down, I didn't feel any regret. So,
yeah.
But the game itself was fun. It really was. And it was neat to have all the crossovers. And all the characters played very differently.
They did. It was a whole thing.
I loved especially the Necromancer from Diablo when he was put into Heroes of the Storm. He was great.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to make this a 2-parter. Damn it.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're about to hit...
We were never going to get there.
The big thing, and it's already 10:30, so... I do believe... Let's just stop there right before things take a turn. Well, we got one more game when things take a turn.
We've seen some hints of this when we're talking about the burnout starting and things like that. There's shadows to come, but so far people are still happy and smiling.
Yeah,
will that continue?
Because they were making quality games. Every game, like once Warcraft hit, every game that they released was just killer. Like this string of hits here, it's comparable to like a Spielberg in his prime.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, it's by Blizzard? Oh, I bet it's really good. And it was. Like, what? I will say, for Heroes of the Storm, I played Heroes of the Storm possibly every day because Gothic, y'all remember Gothic? Gothic and I, on days when he was off, would just hop on Heroes of the Storm, hop on a Discord call, and just like shoot the breeze for like 3 hours and play some games. Like it was awesome because we didn't, there's no stress, no pressure. Just let's just dick around and play some MOBA. Yeah, hell yeah, and then that's what we did. And it was good. And we were there for Heroes of the Storm 2.0, which was their big business model revamp. Of course, the problem is it introduced loot chests. So this was in 2017.
I remember the loot chests. I was there for that.
Yeah, you gotta have the loot chests. But most of that was nonsense because it's one of the games where I didn't really care about any cosmetics in that game. Except I really wanted to make sure that my patches got the Roadhog skin. Because Roadhog from Overwatch, we'll get there in the next episode, was he had a hook. And see, Patches had a hook. So rather than make a whole other character with a hook, they just gave him a Roadhog skin. And that's awesome. But yeah, Heroes of the Storm got wound down in 2018. And then in 2022, they ended major development entirely. Which, apparently, after Microsoft got Blizzard, they still make balance changes. So that's good. It didn't just die. But they stopped making new... The hero... What was it? The HGC, the Heroes Global Championship. There we go. Which I got really into watching the actual competitive HOTS. That was pretty good. But that got dissolved. They stopped making new characters. They're like, yep, we're done now. And after that, we just sort of lost interest because there's nothing new to look forward to anymore. I think HOTS was the first Blizzard game I stopped playing. Because eventually it was like, it's just going to be the same forever now. Screw it. Let's do something else. So, yeah. But all right. So that is where we'll stop. We'll stop right there at the release of HOTS in 2015. So next up, we have Overwatch. And then things take a turn. So, final thoughts, my dorks. That's a good place to stop, right? It has to be. That's where we're stopping.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, final thoughts, my dorks.
Final thoughts from me, and then I'm going to head out. Two quick thoughts. Number one, I was not here 2 weeks ago to cover TMNT, and hey, these guys did a great job of listening to the whole episode. Pizza is definitely best when it's got fresh tomatoes and bacon on top, so haha. Also, I've been enjoying playing the set on Arena. I did not do a pre-release in person, but I'm enjoying playing on Arena. I feel like it's pretty well balanced. Second thing is, and I told the guys about this before the show, you may have heard of the Disney Pixar film Hoppers. And if you've seen the previews for it, they're kind of lazy with it, and they just make it look like it's an animal film meets Avatar, because researchers put themselves into the bodies of animals to study animals, and that sounds like Avatar. It's not movie of the year, but it is hilarious. And the second half of the movie is amazing. The first half is kind of predictable. The second half is definitely worth seeing. Go see it. Hoppers. That's what I got.
I
You
had
guys
never even heard of this movie until Brian mentioned it in the pre-show, and I was like, huh?
They did not do the best job with advertising this one. I really feel that way. I don't think it's one of those epic movies that you have to see in the movie theater, but it was really enjoyable. And when it comes out on streaming or to download, I would absolutely check it out. All right.
Nice.
You guys have a great night.
Night B.
Night.
Dirk?
Um, I will say that as we're going through all these uh, topics or all the games released and everything, I was trying to somehow rotate in playing all these extra things while I was also playing World of Warcraft during this. So I played WoW. I think I jumped in. I was vanilla WoW. I think I was in the third or fourth, like point 0.3 or point 0.4 when I jumped in, and I played consistently up through. It was Cataclysm. I took a 1 year off because right around that time is when Trevor was born, and then I jumped back on, and then I stayed until well, uh, uh, all the way up to Shadowlands, and that is one we'll pick up because that in itself is its own bed of nails to discuss and bring up with part two when we get to it, because there's a lot of stuff going on that resulted in me wanting. I dropped it after I played Shadowlands for about 6 months to a year. I just couldn't take it anymore, so I was out at that point. And yeah, so like I said, we'll talk more about that with part two when we get to it. So
Yeah, we
that's
will.
my final thought. So I will bid you all farewell and have a wonderful night.
Night, Dirk. So, it is down to you, and it is down to me.
Right.
But I'm going to interrupt you since Brian, I don't think, did once this whole episode. Hey, just before everyone leaves, because I know a bunch of you probably don't listen to the final thoughts bit, but I hope you're still listening because by the time this goes out for everybody, there will be on the Patreon, but free to read. You don't have to be a lifeguard. I think I've mentioned this on previous episodes. I played 22 games, demos from the Steam Next Fest, upcoming games from various indie company or indie studios, and yeah, I did a big write up. I ranked them all and explained what I did and didn't like about each one. But I played 22, and there are 5 that I just didn't wish list. And then 1 that I did, and then later thought, I don't really want that, and took it off. So, what is that? 16 out of 22 games or demos that I played, and I'm like, I would buy this in the future.
Yeah.
5 of which I'm absolutely buying as soon as they come out. 1 of which on day 1. If I don't buy it on day 1, it's because I died. Or, I'm broke or out of the country or something. So, yeah. 1 of which inspired me to enjoy a whole new genre of games. So, yeah, that'll be on patreon.com/themanapool. Go read it. It's got every game will have a link to the Steam page and a screenshot of the gameplay, so you can see what I'm talking about. Because I mostly reference these games I talked about these games in reference to the other games that they're referencing, if that makes sense. Like Archon Soul is Slay the Spire, but with dice. And Racoin, Coin Pusher Roguelike, is Balatro, but with a coin pusher instead of poker. Which, if you've played Slay the Spire or Coin Pusher, or Balatro, those sentences will make sense to you immediately. And if not, you'll be like, what? Well, there's screenshots and a link to the Steam page, so you can just go look what I'm talking about. I would have put a trailer, but the only way to put videos in a Patreon post, because it's not a terribly robust editor, is to upload the video directly. And I wasn't going to upload 22 trailers. because I don't know how some browsers work, but some browsers just load everything at once. So I didn't want anyone's phone to explode. So you get a screenshot and a link. Sorry I couldn't put a trailer there, but if I could embed them, there would have been a trailer for sure, so you could see everything in action directly on the screen. But Patreon isn't quite that far along yet. But yeah, go read it. And if you do read it, like, either leave a like or a comment or something so I'll know, because the metrics for interactions with text posts aren't the best that I have discovered on Patreon. I'm probably missing something because metrics is what Patreon's whole thing should be. But because I don't do text posts that need engagement, you know, just here's the early release for the podcast, like I don't know where any of that is. So if you do read it, drop a comment or a like or something, just so I know how many people got their eyes on it, if you would, because this is the first. I really have been itching to do some long form writing again, but I don't want to sign up for Substack. I'm like, oh, there's a Patreon right here. First one's free, like any good dealer. It'll be there free for everybody to read. After that, you've got to be a lifeguard. So if you like it, you know, throw in $1. I'm gonna try to write on a fair, not frequently, but I want to try to write on a semi-regular basis there, you know. So yeah, thank you. And support indie games. None of the games I played, by the way, were bad. The ones that I didn't wish list were just because they did not meet my own personal tastes. One was very disappointing, but probably just me. So yeah, go check that out if you're interested in upcoming games at all. It's taken me so long that I think 3 or 4 of these games have released by now, but hey, even better, if you like them, you don't have to wait to buy them. It's okay. Go, Mike. I would have done that ahead of time, but those two needed to go to sleep, so.
Right. Gosh, where was I even? Yeah, so yeah, it's too bad we had to break off the narrative, but looking back, there was no way we were going to be able to do the whole history up to the present, especially if we actually wanted to talk about some of the games. But yeah, the next part is, like, I talked about dropping some games, like I dropped Hearthstone because it just wasn't fun. I think I don't know why I would say I stopped playing Diablo 3. I think one day I just played my last game of it and didn't realize it. But yeah, coming up is the part where I was finally like, you know what? Okay, I'm really going to step away from Blizzard for a while. Like, to the point where, like we said, like I found out earlier in the episode that I didn't even realize Bobby Kotick was actually gone because I just completely stopped paying attention. After I completely stopped paying attention after he wasn't out immediately, so I was like, okay, I'm giving up entirely. Yeah, we'll get there. I guess I don't have anything substantive for a final thought. I'll just leave it there.
Fair enough. Yeah, we'll get into in the next episode. Like I said, we're here at the cusp. And that is probably the most logical place to pause. But the options were either rush through it and not actually talk about the games that we all played and loved that were legitimately ridiculously good in almost every way, and rush to get to all the current stuff. Or Dirk, the reason I say we're gonna have to make this a 2-parter because Dirk typed in the chat, "Can we make this a 2-parter?" And I was like, "No, we can't." I looked at the time and I went, "Yeah, this is a 2-parter now." Whoops. So yeah, don't forget patreon.com/themanapool. Read the article. Become a lifeguard if you like. join the Discord. If you go to themanapool.com, there's links to everything, or the links are down in the description / show notes, depending on where you watch this. They're all, as always, there all the time. Join the Discord. Send us an email. Hey, remember that? Follow me on BlueSky. It's the Manapool. We're the Manapool everywhere. So yeah. Oh yeah. What do I have for final thoughts? I got nothing. I played a whole ass game in the last, over like 4 days. It was the Return of the Obra Dinn. It's really good. I recommend it. It's an investigation game by Lucas Pope, if that means anything to you. He's the guy that did Papers, Please, if that means anything to you. I realized that as a person who like really pays attention to gaming, I can say, oh yeah, Lucas Pope is the guy from Papers, Please, and way more people than my brain accepts will go, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So, you know, I need to look into picking up that, what was it called? Play Nice? Jason Schreier's Blizzard book? Jason Schreier, by the way, is a video game journalist. He wrote for Kotaku and then got a job with Bloomberg. And he is an actual like journalist, like for real. So he's got 3 or 4 books out now, and yeah, I really need to look into some of those, especially hearing that Dirk actually said one of them, the one he listened to, was really good. So yeah, with that, this has been episode 748 of the Manapool. Thank you all so very much for joining us. And we haven't gotten into it yet, but Bobby Kotick is the devil.